What's up, social media world? It's me, BP, Ben Peters, coming at you with another video. We need to talk. My last video was very well received of how much money I made as a real estate agent and real estate investor. I think a lot of people think that's where it stops. Oh, Ben, you made a ton of money last year. Oh my gosh, you must be just rolling in it. Absolutely not. That is not true whatsoever. I want to show you, as a real estate investor, you're gonna have some good years, but sometimes you're gonna have some bad years. And 2022 is what I would call a year of learning for me. In this video, I wanna go through exactly what I paid this year in various renovations, in learning lessons, in fixes, in maintenance, all those types of things, so that you know, as a real estate investor, what you're getting yourself into. There's pros and cons with every avenue of real estate. I've always been attracted to multifamily real estate, older buildings, because it's a lower price point, but there are higher maintenance costs, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what that looks like. So before I jump into the video, please give this video a like if you like this type of content, but more importantly, comment and subscribe if you haven't. Hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel tremendously. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The first project that I spent way more money than I wanted to, I actually made a video on it. It's a very long video. It's the longest video on my channel. I'll link it right here, but it's my property in South Minneapolis on 39th Street. I had a hoarder living in that property, and when she moved out, I decided to do a renovation. If you haven't seen the video, I'll link it right here. Take a look, see some of the learning lessons I got from that one. Here are the all-in costs for that project. When I went into the project, my handyman said, hey, you should move this wall.
Probably just do all new doors. We could open this up and make this open.
Never move a wall in an old property. I have learned this now. When we moved the wall, we had to do plumbing and we had to do electrical. And it was 20 grand worth of plumbing, 10 grand worth of electrical. So before we even stopped demolition, I was 30 grand into it. Then my chimney collapsed. In order to redo the chimney, put a new liner in it, all that kind of stuff, it was another 10 grand. So I was $40,000 into this project before we were even done with demolition, which absolutely sucks. Then my handyman fixed everything. He probably, what I would call, over fixed the property, put too much into it. He put in granite countertops. I usually wouldn't put in granite countertops. And so it was about 40 grand worth of labor and materials to get that property up to snuff. So all in, my 39th Street project cost me about $80,000. And my last video, when I talked about how much money I made in 2021, I made about 100 grand on my real estate portfolio. And in one property, I put in $80,000. Just one. That was the first project in 2022. We wrapped that up about March this year, and now we have a good renter in there. The second project that subtracted a ton of money out of my bank account was my South St. Paul quadplex. Now, I have made a video about this quadplex, how it looked like a really bad deal, but it actually ended up being a really good one. If you haven't seen the video, I'll link it right here. That property, when I bought it, I even talk about it in the video, had very old heating systems.
Take a look at this. What is this? This is what's called a gravity furnace.
It's a 1920s built house, and I think they were all original heating systems. When I got the inspection, the inspector said, hey, you know, these are probably gonna go out one by one, and when they go out one by one, you can just replace them one by one. I said, you know what? I can do that. I can deal with that.
I still got an inspection. The inspector said, hey, this furnace is actually in really good condition.
Worst case scenario sometimes happens. And in this property, the worst case scenario happened. All 4 heating systems went out at the same time. I hired a tech when somebody said, hey, heating system doesn't seem to be working. He went out there and he's like, Ben, all 4 of these are leaking gas pretty significantly, to the point where if you don't fix these, you could kill somebody. And I am not a slumlord. I'm not trying to kill somebody. I'm trying to have a great place for people to live. So right then and there, I said, hey, if these are unsafe, we need to red tag these. We need to get these replaced. And so I had to replace 2 gravity furnaces with HVAC systems, and I had to replace 2 boilers as well. My first bid for that project was $65,000. And I told the tech when he gave me the bid, that is absolutely not an option at all. Ended up getting another bid, and it ended up being $30,000, $15,000 for 2 boilers, $15,000 for 2 HVAC systems. So it was about $30,000, actually $31,000 to get those installed. But then it was a very old building, and because it was original heating systems, they were lined with asbestos. So I had to remove the asbestos, which cost an additional $8,000. So that was a $39,000 project. Remember, last year I made $100,000 in my real estate portfolio. One project cost me $80,000, second project cost me $39,000. So just shy of $40,000. So I'm already 120 grand in the hole. That means I didn't make money. So that was the second project that lost me money. The third project that lost me money. I made a video about this one too, but I had to evict a tenant. When I bought this quadplex, the units were straight out of the 70s. They did not look good whatsoever. And so I had one tenant move out, and when they moved out, I had a little cash laying on the sideline. So I was like, hey, let's quick renovate this. And my handyman said, with the flooring, with the painting, with just the few cabinets that we're gonna replace, it's gonna cost about $7 grand. I said, yep, no problem at all. So that was one unit for $7,000. Then the second unit, the eviction unit. We're in the process of still renovating this unit. And my handyman initially told me, oh, it should cost about the same as that other unit I renovated in the building, about $7,000. I was just about to go on a trip, and so I said, hey, you know what? Rather than you bidding, coming back to me, and having that loss of communication, why don't I just give you my credit card? And then that way, I'll pay for the materials, and I'm just paying you for labor. He was like, cool, sounds great. Again, he told me originally a bid of $7,000. I came back from my trip and I looked at my credit card statement, and it was $18,000. Between that one unit of $7,000, the second unit of $18,000, I am $25,000 into renovations in this unit, and I was not expecting that. Let's go through the math. The first property, $80,000. The second property, about $40,000. Third property, $25,000. So I am $145,000 out of my pocket in 2022. Again, 2022 was a year of learning for Ben Peters. As I've always promised on this channel, I'm going to give you the positives of real estate investing. I'm going to give you the negatives of real estate investing and what I have learned so you don't have to make my same mistakes. What can we learn from 2022? Number one, put money away for repairs. I used to think, hey, I'll maybe budget a little bit here, but I want to have that cash flow sitting in my bank account so I can go buy another property. Absolutely not. You need to have a separate account for maintenance. Not only maintenance, but renovations, especially if you're buying older properties like me. Most of my properties, 1900s, 1920s. My newest property is 1950. I used to think, you know what, I'll put a little bit of money aside for maintenance, and if there's a big project, I'll just get a no-interest credit card, no problem. Well, when you have huge expenses, like I did this year, you can't pay for all those on a no-interest credit card. Take a look at your rental portfolio, and a percentage should be going into a maintenance account every month, no matter what. As a general rule of thumb, after doing a lot of research, basically you should be at least putting in $1 per square foot for the year. So if it's a 2,000 square foot property, you should at least have $2,000 set aside for maintenance. But for me, I'm upping that number. And this is just maintenance. This is not renovations or anything like that. Because I have older properties, because they're all relatively old, my maintenance costs are gonna be higher. So I do about $2 per square foot per year. And that's just in relative maintenance. Because of 2022, I wanna have a little bit of a cushion for me every year from now on. The second thing that I've learned in 2022, get multiple bids for projects. I'm gonna do another video on my whole heating fiasco in my South St. Paul quadplex. My first bid for 4 heating units was $65,000. And at first I thought, there's no way I'm gonna be able to pay for this. I don't have $65,000 just sitting around right now. I talked to them and they said, oh, we could finance and everything like that. I thought this was a technician that I knew, like, and trust. But then I said, you know what, I'm just gonna get a couple more bids just to see what I could do. Found a guy who said, hey, if you pay me under the table and pay me in cash, like literally don't write me a check, pay me in cash, I'll do it for $35,000. And I at first thought, sure, but here's the thing about those types of contractors. If they're willing to do something under the table, chances are they're not the best people in general, and they're probably not gonna do an amazing job for you. So I decided, let me get one more bid. Reached out to a buddy who owns an HVAC company. He came in with that $31,000 mark, which to me, I was like, absolutely, I will do that. I could pay on a credit card. It was great. So it ended up being okay, but I have learned in my real estate journey, get at least 3 bids on every project that you do, because there are some technicians, especially if you Google a company and they can be out within 24 hours, chances are that technician is going to cost you an arm and a leg because they are so speedy. Usually the best price technicians are the ones that take a little while to come to your property because they're busy. The ones that aren't busy, a lot of times they're the ones who cost an arm and a leg. The third lesson that I learned, don't take contractors at their word. My handyman that I had renovate one of the units, I had some oversight over that first unit and only cost $7,000. The second unit, I trusted him, I took him at his word, and he ended up paying way more than he should have for all those materials. Now, at the end of the day, it's still my fault. I trusted the guy. Because of my learning experience here in 2022, I have now learned I am not going to just give a contractor my credit card. I am going to say, hey, come in, give me a bid. So what if it takes an extra week to get that bid? But then I have something that I can hold him accountable to. If you just give the credit card, it's like giving a blank check. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. As you can see, 2022 has been a very big learning experience for Ben Peters, but please learn from my mistakes, go out, create a wealthy legacy, go out, keep investing in real estate. I will keep investing in real estate, but learn from my mistakes. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. See you guys on the next one. Stay vertical.